Learn today's latest updates around Enzo Fernandez as we find out soon whether Benfica will accept our Klarna payment methods to sign Enzo Fernandez. To move on, we have some big updates around Moukoko, and to end things we discuss Rafael Leao and his contract renewal situation with AC Milan. So today we got a ton of things to break down and discuss. I hope you guys enjoy. Get involved in the comments, and of course shout out to everyone that shared their thoughts and opinions in yesterday's video where I discussed Graham Potter. If you guys want to get involved in the conversation, you'll find a link below in the card above and description below. Hope you guys do, of course, and getting straight into things. Let's start things off by discussing the latest news around yourself and Moukoko, courtesy of Sky Deutschland. Now, of course, we found out from them that Moukoko's camp and Borussia Dortmund held renewal talks before Christmas. Now, at the time, it was reported that Borussia Dortmund offered around €3 million net per season, which is way below the valuation that Moukoko and his camp were hoping to receive. So due to this rejection of the contract, it does seem like Moukoko now is set to be leaving Borussia Dortmund. The only question now is, will he leave them in January, or will he leave on a free at the end of the season? Now, it could make a lot of sense for Moukoko to leave in the summer, where he would be available as a free agent. By being a free agent, it means that he's entitled to receiving a much higher signing on fee as well as higher wages, because the buying club doesn't have to pay any transfer value around the player. So that would work out in his favour, as it's allegedly reported that Moukoko and his camp are hoping to receive around €7 million net per season, which is a lot of money, but for someone as talented as Moukoko, someone that has been one of the most promising, influential young teen talents across Europe now for many years, I can see why they feel like he should be paid a lot higher and earn a lot more. Anyway, we do have competition for the player's services from Barcelona and from Man United as well too. Now currently, Atletico Madrid want so much money for João Felix, like a ridiculous loan fee plus wages covered too. And reality is, the season ends in like 4 or 5 months time, so it's an incredible amount of money to spend on a player that you might not even sign at the end of the loan spell. So you can now see why Moukoko is a target for Manchester United. But on the other hand, I would say that the major competition actually comes from Barcelona. Now, they've said to the player that ideally, if you want to sign for us, if you want to play for Barcelona, you must leave at the end of the season and become a free agent so we can then sign you. Of course, naturally, he would be entitled to decent money and wages, but at the same time, Barca have also said that he will be back up to Lewandowski. Now, considering his age, the fact that he can learn from Lewandowski, and the fact that he will probably take over from Lewandowski in the future, I could see how it works in the player's interests. But it has been reported that we are the Premier League club who are the favourites at this point in time to possibly entice Moukoko to sign for us. We know that we've held talks with the player already. We've proposed our project towards the player, who is very excited and interested behind how he could be used if he was to sign for us. And it has been reported now by Sky Deutschland that we have made an offer to sign the player. Now, we don't know whether this offer is to sign him in January or to wait for him at the end of the season, but you'd imagine that as this window goes on, because we need to fill a few positions. We're getting a midfield player, hopefully another attacking player, and potential backup to the team as well too. So there's plenty of time in this window for things to still change and evolve. So I'm really going to pay attention to the future of Moukoko, because it does seem now like he is set to be leaving Borussia Dortmund. So how do you guys feel about the news? Ideally, if I was to go for like one teen striker, it would have to be Vitor Roque from Paranese. I just think that this guy will be like a generational talent. But that's only my thoughts and opinions, you guys. Right now, let's move on to discussing another South American generational talent. And we have even more updates and news behind Enzo Fernandez. It's looking like the next 48 to 72 hours will be the key defining hours to determine whether we can actually sign Fernandez in this window. At this point in time, we have a lot of things working in our favour. But the reality is, we need to get the confirmation now from Benfica. We know that Rui Costa is still deciding on things, because he actually promised his partners as well as the fans that only top players of Benfica are going to leave in the January window if the full release clause, of course, is paid for in full. So naturally, they aren't going to be as easy to negotiate with. But I'm hoping that with our efforts to sign Enzo and the fact that the player now himself is taking agency into his own hands and wants to move and wants to sign for us right now, I'm hoping that this will force Benfica to change their current position around this deal. Now, there have been some conflicting reports naturally coming out from Portugal, and that's because Benfica, of course, will be feeding the media what they want to report. They want to report confidence. They want to report that they're not being fazed by the interest from us. Ideally, they prefer to keep the player and, of course, sell him in the summer. And some of the reports coming out from Portugal are saying that potentially this deal could actually fall off and we may not sign him based on the fact that Benfica won't accept the installment plan for Enzo Fernandez. But I just want to give you guys some of the information around this deal at this point in time. That's only a bit of the news coming out. There's a lot more news suggesting confidence that a deal will be struck very soon. And I want to discuss those stories that have broken over the past 24 hours. Let's start with Enzo Fernandez. Now, he's been a bit of a naughty boy. Recently, he went back to Argentina against the wishes of Benfica without actually getting permission to go back to celebrate the end of the new year. These celebrations were very public, they were going across social media, and in my opinion, this is Fernandez showing a bit of dissent. He doesn't want his dream move to fall through right now. He wants to go to the Premier League, he wants to sign for us, and he doesn't want Benfica to deny him that move right now. So he has to act up a little bit. He has to cause a bit of a scene. He has to show that, listen, his head's not automatically in the right place to be playing for a Benfica. And I understand that. I mean, when we signed Ben Chilwell, like all those seasons back, he actually showed some dissent towards Leicester City, and that actually allowed us to sign him for 50 million compared to the 80 million that Leicester City won for him at the time. Now, some conflicting reports in Portugal have said that Benfica, of course, naturally gave him permission and it's nothing to worry about, but I just don't believe them because there's so much news supporting the fact that this was pure dissent shown by Enzo Fernandez. Most likely he will now be fined by Benfica, and there's some question marks around whether he will be made available for their game at the end of this week in the Portuguese league. Now, that's a bit of information around the news right now. Let's go back to the positive reports, and allegedly it does seem like Benfica may be close to accepting our installment plan demands to sign Enzo Fernandez. So basically that would involve paying an extra 10 million on top of his release clause to allow us to buy him in installments, and these installments would be spread over 3 years. For me, I think that's quite fair, in my opinion. I think that gives Benfica a lot of wiggle room to be able to sign replacements for him right now. And the reports of Benfica looking at top talents from the Argentinian league are not dying down. So of course, naturally they have to look for replacements right now when there's a massive growing possibility that Fernandez will be leaving them, hopefully by next week. We already know that Enzo Fernandez has already agreed personal terms to sign for us. It seems like he's set to sign a contract taking him to 2028, and he's given the green light time and time again. So there's no doubts behind his motivation to sign for us. But now we wait for Rui Costa to assess this deal over the next 24 to 72 hours. Now, it has been confirmed that we aren't looking to be messed around during this window. Listen, if you're not going to accept our demands, we could possibly go back for Enzo during the summer window, knowing the fact that he will be a lot more affordable at the end of the season. And at the same time, we're still showing interest in other midfield players like Moises Caicedo, as well as McAllister as well too. So we have contingency plans in case anything doesn't work out. So we're not coming to this deal with desperation behind us. As I said in my previous vid, I don't think there's many clubs in European football right now that have the funds to sign Enzo Fernandez for this amount of money. No club right now will pay the full release clause in one go. It's not going to happen. So I do feel like Rui Costa could find himself in a position where if you want to play hardball so much, the deal may not go through, and you could have egg in your face in the future knowing that you missed out on earning over 100 million to help revamp the team. I think there's a bit of a risk behind something like this, and I feel like this is why they will strongly take into consideration the attitude of Fernandez right now, who doesn't want to be there anymore, and the fact that this is an incredible fair offer we are presenting to sign their player right now. You'd imagine that River Plate will be extremely happy with this move because they are entitled to 25% of this overall transfer, but they'll earn around 33 million. And just to end things, the reality is this guy signed for Benfica 6 months ago, and it's not like he was an unknown entity. He had a massive reputation in South America. He did big things playing for River Plate, helping them win trophies and silverware during that time once he was recalled back from his loan spell. And seeing how someone like Alvarez at Man City, another guy who had incredible reputation that everyone kind of knew about, literally went from the Argentinian league straight to the Premier League in one go. Man City have saved millions and millions and millions by taking that risk. So I do feel like hopefully this is going to encourage us now to, take advantage of opportunities like this. If there's top talents playing in smaller divisions, there's no real risk behind signing them right now and hoping they can be the future star for you as the season's going on, because literally in the space of 6 months, this guy's a World Cup winner and one of the best young midfield players in world football. And 6 months ago, you could have signed him for like literally less than £15 million, which is outrageous. So that are my thoughts and opinions. That's the latest stories. How do you guys feel about things? Let us know in the comment section. And to end things now with the final news on Rafael Leao. Now we have some disappointing news around Rafael Leao. Reported by Damasio, it does seem very likely now that Milan and Leao are close to finding a renewal now for him to remain at AC Milan. It seems that Milan are happy to pay around €7 million per season net, which is the valuation that Leao was hoping could be agreed upon if there was any hopes for him to remain at AC Milan. Now we have no real context at this point in time of the recording about whether AC Milan have found ways to, reduce the amount of money that Leao owes back to Sporting Lisbon. They were arguing with the lawyers, suggesting that Lille should also pay some of that money back because he actually signed for Lille first before going to AC Milan. Now, have we possibly played a part in forcing Leao to commit to signing for AC Milan? Kinda, but not really. Of course, naturally, our hands are tied right now behind this Enzo Fernandez deal. We are focusing our priority on Fernandez right now instead of making a move to sign Leao in this current window. And in my opinion, I think this is the correct thing to do because we need to revamp this midfield because we are looking like boys on that field right now. So this was most likely the blessing in disguise that Milan needed to get Leao to commit. I'd imagine that our interest in Leao wouldn't be over right now. I think in the next 2 to 3 seasons, he will also be available. And at that time, you're possibly signing him when he's at his absolute peak years. So I don't think it's necessarily over right now. But regardless, if you're in the market to sign any wingers, one guy I absolutely love this season is the Georgian Hazard, and that is Kvaratskhelia from Napoli. I think this guy is exceptional. I think this guy is very good in the build-up phase. I think this guy's very good taking his man on. Goal threat, creativity. Not many wingers like this come along much often, and honestly, I'm addicted to watching this guy playing for Napoli because he really is the real deal in my opinion. So obviously, of course, it's a shame that we might not be signing Leao for the summer, but there's so many impressive talents playing out wide in this market that whoever we sign, I'm fairly sure all of us will be happy with, and it will bring a big impact to this team. So anyway, you guys, these are all the latest reports I've dropped so far today. If there's more news that drops later, of course, stay tuned to BlueLionsTV to get all the latest updates and opinions. I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great day. I'm NiniFC. This is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.